Buddy, how you guys doing? The Bills, as free agency approaches, the legal tampering period begins in a few hours tomorrow at noon. The Bills won't have much concern about losing big name guys because they've cut them all. After today, signing John Feliciano, the Bills' top three free agents are not going anywhere. Matt Milano, Darrell Williams, and John Feliciano all stay in house. All three, seemingly, reportedly, sign contracts that are under what was their expected market value. So, look, it's a help as a GM. We talk about all the great work, and we're going to do that here. All the great work that Brandon Beane has done. You know what? It helps as a GM when you can say, here's a contract that's good for the team, and then the player signs it. Makes your job pretty easy. But obviously a big part of that, too, is Brandon Beane convincing the players that it's in their best interest, convincing them that it was going to work for them, it's going to help them, it's going to benefit them. And also the reason these Bills players sign these under market deals is because they like being there and building that culture, that environment, that situation that players will take less money to be a part of. Brandon Beane certainly has a part of that. Now, obviously, Sean McDermott and all the players, and there's 1,000 people, almost literally, that go into building that culture. But when you have that all set, it makes the GM's job a whole lot easier this week. And Brandon Beane did some great work, being able to put together enough salary cap space, and more importantly, putting together contracts that would fit into that salary cap space this year and make those players who almost certainly would have gotten bigger money on the open market, make them happy enough to stay in Buffalo. Matt Milano and Darrell Williams, I think both signed obviously contracts for quite a bit of money. John Feliciano a little less, but I think all three guys, had they gone elsewhere and just been on the open market, probably, maybe not, we'll see how things go starting tomorrow, but probably, would have made a whole lot more. And I think this strategy from Brandon Beane, it's a smart strategy in that he didn't fight upstream when it came to this free agency. The Bills weren't going to have a whole lot of money like they have had the last 2 years to kind of add and address positions however they wanted to. They had to find smart buys, bargain buys almost, to make it work. And the best place to find a player who's going to take less money to be on your team is with the group of players that are already there and already happy. You can tell a Carl Lawson or a Jonnu Smith, until they're blue in the face, how much they're going to love Buffalo. And you can let Micah Hyde go on the full court press and explain all these things about why it's great in Buffalo and why everybody else who didn't go there is stupid. But the people who are going to buy that more so are the guys who lived it for at least a season, the guys who've been there. So why not approach those guys first when it comes to signing a contract the Bills can afford? And this is not, part of this obviously good strategy and being smart, but part of it is just, being logical and not, trying to go against the situation. Don't zag when everything is pushing you to zig. And that's all Brandon Beane did. And I'm not saying it's simple, it's not, but it is pretty smart and a good use of not only your resources, but, what you have going for you outside the salary cap, which is the quality culture. So, the whole attitude here and the approach by the Bills, by Brandon Beane, just, genius and makes sense because, number one, no matter what you do with free agency, how you build your team, what positions you address, where you get better, the idea is if you're going to spend $5 million on a guy, you want to get $5 million worth of production. You want value for your spend. And with the three guys the Bills have brought back, almost certainly they will get value for the money they spent. Obviously, there's injury risk with Matt Milano, a little lesser with Darrell Williams. John Feliciano is not a great player, but a good player. So there's question marks for sure. But, the general feeling with these contracts is that they are going to be way worth it to the Bills for what they've given these players. But here's the problem. So Brandon Beane kind of follows the stream, right? Surfs the tide. Doesn't try and go upstream with these moves. But did the Bills get any better this week? They probably did. They're bringing everybody back. They're bringing all their big name free agents back. But, this was a team, they went to the AFC Championship, but they got hammered in the AFC Championship by a team that had already hammered them once earlier in the season. And then that team went out and got hammered by somebody else in the Super Bowl. So are the Bills really that close to where just bringing everybody back is all you got to do? Now, maybe. Now, look, Josh Allen, his last 2 years in the league, has taken big jumps each year. So you bet against him taking another big jump at your own risk. Obviously, the more jumps you take, the better you get, the harder it is to take another one because there's just not much further to go. And then there are other guys, younger guys, who could get better. Obviously A.J. Epinesa was a rookie, played a little bit better down the stretch. He could improve. Ed Oliver, really good rookie year, kind of took a step back in his sophomore season. Well, Deion Dawkins did the same thing. And in year 3, Deion Dawkins was back up to a pretty solid, maybe not elite, but pretty good player. So the Bills, who are in desperate need for pass rush, could certainly get some of that pass rush from their own young guys, Epinesa and Oliver. And there's obviously going to be a draft. Forget about the fact the Bills might do more work in free agency, but there's going to be a draft. The Bills are going to have a first-round pick. They didn't have that last year. They've been pretty good at finding guys deep in the draft. Obviously, Matt Milano, example number 1. Taron Johnson, a 4th-round pick. Gabriel Davis, a 4th-round pick. So it's not like the Bills are just going to stand pat and bring back the exact same roster they had last year. But expecting your draft pick, your 30th overall draft pick, or your 60th overall draft pick, whatever their round 2 pick actually is, to be the thing that makes up that still sizable gap between you and the best team in your conference, let alone the team that won the Super Bowl, may not be the best game plan. And that's why, I thought if I were running the Bills, I would have taken some of the money, especially what I spent on Matt Milano, and tried to put that into a pass rusher. That's why I would have gone after J.J. Watt almost regardless the price. Because this Bills team, I don't care how good your linebacking core is. I don't care how good your offensive line is. If you're not going to get pressure on Pat Mahomes and the other great young quarterbacks that are coming up, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, especially if he ends up in Miami somehow, I don't know if the Bills are a Super Bowl team. So look, bottom line, again, when you spend money in free agency, you want to get bang for your buck. Brandon Beane has 100% done that. And he's done that with more players than I think we thought were possible a week ago. But are the Bills better? Are the Bills closer to winning a Super Bowl? It's a big question. And it's going to require some guys who are already pretty good to get even that much better going forward. All right, what do you guys got here? What's up, Dan Walker? John Ayala, GM, has an A+ grade from you so far. I can't argue with that. Again, in free agency, get bang for your buck. Brandon Beane's gotten a ton of bang so far. If the Niners let Trent Williams go, would it be a good pickup for the Bills? I mean, sure. Trent Williams, Corey, would be a fantastic pickup. I don't think the Bills are going to have the money for him. And I don't know if, frankly, they have the spot for him right now either. You spent a good chunk of money on Darrell Williams. You'd have 3 tackles and Deion Dawkins being the other one that all expect to play. Would Trent Williams help and be better than one of those 2 tackles? Probably. But I don't think it makes sense for the Bills at this point. John Allen, we need a serviceable running back and a second corner. I agree with that. Now, look, I think the Bills have a serviceable running back. They probably have 2 of them right now in Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. There's a lot of thought about spending that first pick on a big-time running back, a Najee Harris from Alabama, Travis Etienne from Clemson. I don't like that strategy. Number one, you draft that guy first overall, there's going to be a feeling that you have to give him touches, right? Why on this offense would you want to have less touches for Josh Allen in the passing game? Doesn't make much sense to me. And I know people love Etienne. I'm not as big a fan of him. I don't think he has the kind of home run potential that a lot of people give him credit for. He's got really good speed, but not, oh my goodness, Tyreek Hill speed. So to spend that first round pick on a running back when the Bills, again, are still desperate to get a pass rusher and to make that pass rush better, I think that's where they have to go with the first pick. Now, there are still ways to manage money free agency. There are players who could convert base salary into signing bonus, create some cap room. If you can land like a Carlos Dunlap, who might be willing to take a cheap 1-year deal to play for a championship, well, then it gets different. Then maybe I'm spending that first round pick on a running back because I feel like I've addressed my pass rush. But with Mario Addison coming back, with A.J. Epinesa already, having a large asset committed to him, the idea the Bills are going to spend more money on a free agent edge rusher, I think, is probably unlikely. Not impossible, but unlikely. Yeah, Eric Fish would be a good one too, Corey, but I'll go back to what I said. I don't really think they have a spot for a top-end tackle right now. Todd, who do I see in free agency in the draft that can help immediately? They seem to have some money left to spend on a player or two that could help get past Kansas City. The current Super Bowl window is 3 years, judging by contract length this week. Well, look, the Super Bowl window is now until Josh Allen is getting paid big-time quarterback money, which is certainly going to be 2021 and probably going to be 2022. Most quarterback extensions are not big cap hits the first year. So that's your window. Who can help immediately? Carlos Dunlap is my guy right now. I mean, you look at free agent edge rushers available. Carl Lawson's going to be too much money. Hassan Reddick, I don't know if he's a fit going to be too much money. Matthew Judon, probably too much money. Maybe a Trey Hendrickson or a Romeo Okwara, but those guys are kind of like Trent Murphy. They had one good year, and how much can you count on them to be the solution going forward? Carlos Dunlap, I think, can still play. I think he's still an athletic enough and dominating enough defensive edge rusher that if you can get him on a cheap one-year deal, that's the kind of guy that can make a difference. So in terms of free agents, that would be my number one choice right now. I think a big-time tight end, big-time, like Zach Ertz is a possibility too. Again, if like Dunlap, he'll come here and play on a lower than maybe expected contract. What else you got, Corey? Clowney, obviously, Clowney's going to cost more money than I think he's worth. He's got really good underlying numbers. His ability to beat pass rush, beat double teams, play the run well are really good across the board. I don't know if he's that dominating enough, attract the double team on every play type edge rusher to really make a difference. I'd take a run with him, but again, I think he's going to be too much money. Brian Van Scott, do I think the Bills can beat the Sabres? Yes, I probably do. D-line, John Ayala. Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't know if the Bills want to go running back at all. I mean, look, if you can get somebody who's better than what you got, then you go there. But spending that first overall pick, I would want to do it on an edge rusher. Now, look, you don't know how the draft is going to fall. If a lot of edge rushers that you like go picks 20 through 25, and the running back is staring you at the face in 30, well, then you take the running back. But all things being equal, I want an edge rusher there. Yeah, let's talk about defensive back. Corey brings this up. Malcolm Butler from the Titans is a free agent. Another guy who I think will cost more money than the Bills can afford. I'm not as sure of that as I would be with the edge rusher. For me, I think the Bills' second best cornerback is going to be Dane Jackson, almost no matter who they pick up. But they do need someone in the veteran category to, A, serve as a fallback in case I and the Bills are wrong about Dane Jackson, but also to provide depth. You want to have somebody there who, can be a sounding board, educator, and can do the job if you need him to. Malcolm Butler would fit that role, every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But again, I think he's going to be more money than the Bills want to spend. I mean, keep in mind, the Bills still need a kick returner, still need a punter, still need a backup quarterback, all things that could cost some money. Ike Butker is still a restricted free agent. You want certainly some quality depth up front because your center right now, Mitch Morse, is on his 5th concussion. Your starting guard, Cody Ford, has been an injury problem both years he's been with the Bills. So you need depth in that interior offensive line. Ike Butker, or whoever that will be, is going to cost some money. So, the Bills don't have, at this point, I've got them with about, depending on what the actual terms of the Feliciano contract are, I've got the Bills with maybe $2 or $3 million that they can spend. They might have room, but some of that room is earmarked for the draft class. Some of that is earmarked as an emergency fund, a la what happened last year where they needed Brian Winters last minute. So you can't spend every dollar you have. And right now I've got the Bills with only $2 or $3 million to spend without making more space. All right, guys, appreciate you checking in. Good conversations. John and Corey, I know you made up most of the comments, but good stuff here tonight. And I appreciate you tuning in, and we will do this a lot more this week. Just one warning. When free agency begins, Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots have like the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th most cap room. The AFC is going to make a lot of moves this week, while the Bills probably sit on their hands because they're out of cap space. Just be prepared. I'll talk to you guys later.